Got a cornerback from California named Richard Crawford. Got a safety from Blinn named Justin Sorrell. And with all the losses you had in the secondary, is it more critical than ever that those guys can step in and play right away?
Well, yeah, anytime you go get a JC kid, you're bringing that kid into play. And I've been really impressed with those two kids. I mean, we're going to push them and we're going to get them ready to go. And from what I've seen out of them so far through the summer and then the start of camp, looks like we've hit on both of them. You're always rolling the dice a little bit when you bring in a JC kid, whether they're going to be able to adapt to your program, the demands of a 4-year program. But I've been really impressed with these two kids so far.
And Chase, we talked earlier about how not only did you know your assignments, but you were sort of, as some of your teammates referred to you, sort of a coach on the field. You could tell the defensive ends where they were supposed to be, or the safeties or the corners. Is that something that's required of a senior middle inside linebacker in this defense? And if so, who do you see filling that kind of role out of the guys who are suiting up in 2010?
This next year, I think it's going to be Pete. Like I said, I think that he, just from a understanding the game standpoint, I could be wrong, but I mean, he's the guy that if I was one of the guys on the field, didn't know, he's who I'd go to. So you got to have, if you're the leader of the defense, you have to know what's going on around you. It makes you a better player because you know where the gaps are, where the holes are, and beyond that, you have to be able to kind of control the people around you, and to do that, you have to know what everyone's doing. So,
all right, now a couple of your former teammates who I've been interviewing at practice have acknowledged your accomplishments, and McCann and Parham and all the guys who are gone, yet some of them have still said this year's defense could be better than last year's. Do you agree with that, or are they shooting for the moon here?
I mean, everyone always asks me if people are going to be, or is Taylor Reed going to be able to replace you, and they're all twice the athletes we are. I think that, you know, with the way the program's going, you're just going to get better and better players, and when that happens, you know, they can do better. They have the potential. Whether or not it happens, we'll see. If Coach Mason can, you know, get them under control and get them in the right direction, then yeah, I'd say for sure they can be a better defense.
All right, Coach, now you guys open up September 5th on national TV against Texas Tech in Lubbock, and everyone in Dallas should be watching here at Lakewood's 1st and 10. But Texas Tech has a new coaching staff, new systems. How hard is it for you to game plan when they have old personnel playing in a new coach's system? And how much do you know about the defense that Coach Tuberville is going to be running out of Texas, or the offense that he's going to be running out of Texas Tech?
Well, you can only go by what the offensive coordinator they hired out of Troy State. I've been watching a lot of Troy State film, watched a lot of Texas Tech, look at their personnel so you can find out what the strengths and weaknesses are. It's going to come down to a chess match. They're going to show something and we're going to have to adjust, and we're going to show them something that they're going to have to adjust. I mean, that's just the way it is. And we took an attitude on defense last year that we're not going to worry too much about the other team's offense. We're going to make their offense worry about us. So our mentality going in is they're probably not going to throw a formation. I've been in this game 33 years that I haven't seen, or a personnel grouping that I haven't seen, so I'm not real concerned about it. We'll prepare for spread offenses and the things that we know they're going to do, and then we're going to make them, you know, worry about what we're going to do to them.
All right, you're going to make them worry about what you're going to do, but at the same time, you obviously do scout them, you do prepare for them, and the common perception is that with Mike Leach gone, the ball's not going to be in the air 50 times or 60 times a game anymore. But Troy threw the ball a ton, didn't they?
Yeah, they
so do you
threw it
expect the same kind of ratio of pass to run? And
well, I'm sure with Tupperville there and Leach gone, Tupperville's always wanted to run the ball, so they'll probably be somewhere into that 40-60 category one way or the other. I anticipate we'll see a lot more run. Their two running backs are really quality running backs, and it just comes down to how they're going to scheme them. But the thing you got to remember is they haven't had a tight end in that program for 10 years. They're built on throwing the ball. There are their offensive linemen, the type of guys that can come and drive you off the line. Can they learn that in the spring ball and the fall camp? Yeah, we're going to see some run, but I still think they're going to throw it because that program was built throwing, and until he gets his program in place there, they're going to have to throw the football.
So within the passing game, will they be doing a lot of the same routes and plays that Coach Leach had, although maybe with different names, or do you expect to see totally different route trees coming out of the line of scrimmage?
No, watching Troy on film, they're real similar to what they do in the passing game. Same type of philosophy. They remind me a lot of what Houston does. They're going to be a speed up, a high tempo offense. They're going to try to get a playoff every 15 seconds, and that's really what we're going to prepare for going in, is those type of offenses. Yeah, and in our conference, we see it every week, so our kids are pretty accustomed to it by now.
All right, talking to a couple of the players during the week, I asked them who was sort of the unsung guy, the guy who doesn't get enough attention on this defense. And 3 or 4 of them in a row said Sterling Moore, one after another. Said he got overlooked because Brian McCann was a senior on the other side of the field, and you had Rock Dennis back there making interceptions. One of them said, a couple of guys said that Sterling was absolutely robbed to not be on all-conference preseason lists. One of them even said he should get All-American consideration. You practiced with him every day. You coached him every day. How good is Sterling Moore, and how much of a key to this defense is he?
He's huge, especially this year with the other losses that they've had, and even with those guys still being on the team. I think that, you know, Brian was good last year. Sterling was amazing too. So, you know, I think if I was a linebacker on the team this year, I'd be glad to have him back there, on the edge, because the guy makes plays. And he may not be the fastest guy out there, but he's one of those guys that when the ball's in the air, he'll come from wherever and smack it down. And some guys have that and some guys don't. He's one of the guys that does.
Sterling's huge for us. That's just the way it is. He's one of the better football players that we have on the defense. And what I mean about a football player, Chase will know what I'm talking about. He just makes plays. You look when he got hurt last year, we struggled against Marshall. He comes back for the bowl game. All of a sudden, we're better defense. So Sterling's a great player. He's a good football player. That's the thing. Corner position, was he flashy? No, but he just made plays.
What is it about him that's so effective, though? Because last year during two-a-days, a lot of people had no idea who this guy was. He came in from California, and he goes up in the air against Brad Haynes, who's got, what, 5 inches and 30 pounds on him. Fights guys like that in the air, bigger, stronger receivers, and he's also able to stay with fast receivers, even though he's not maybe the pure speed guy that Brian McCann is. What is it about Sterling that makes him so effective in a number of different roles?
Well, he's one of those kids that, Chase will say this, when he's in my office looking at film all the time, he studies it, he enjoys the game, he's a student of the game, and he's what you call a playmaker. You label a guy, there's a guy to make plays. I don't care how fast he is, how strong he is, how big he is, he just makes plays, and there's certain kids have that knack, and Sterling's one of those kids that he's a playmaker.
Yep. All right, I'm not going to ask you these because you got to see these guys in practice tomorrow, but from your standpoint, you know everybody on the team except the freshmen.
Right.
Who is your defensive MVP for the 2010 season and why?
Ooh. I'm going to have to give it to T. Reed. You know, this defense is built around the Mike linebacker. That's why I was able to make so many plays last year. You know, I'd like to take credit for them all, but we got the big D-line coming back. And just being the Mike in this defense allows you to make a lot of plays. So just looking at stats, it's going to be hard, I think, not to give it to him. You know, after the season, we'll see. But that's my prediction. It's T. Reed again.
And tell me about your concern at the nose guard position. Chris Parham graduated, and you've lost a couple others there. So you've got Mike O'Gwyn, who's a true freshman. He was here in the spring, which is a nice advantage, and he's a big body, but he is a true freshman who, as you've said, has a lot to learn. Spike, or Aaron Davis, is, I guess, listed as your starter right now, but he's a little undersized at, what, 255? How do you change what you ask your nose tackles to do with some inexperience at that spot?
Well, you know, the thing, if you got Davis in there, you got to move him. He came into camp, he's gained 10 pounds, he's 265. That's big enough to play that nose position. O'Gwyn, again, he's got to grow up fast. You hate to put that on a young kid that you're going to maybe be in position to start as really a true freshman. But we moved Jordan Favreau over there to give us some depth, and he's been a pleasant surprise. And then the Karimi kid walked on, and he's a big, good-looking, strong freshman kid. I've had more concerns a week ago than I have right now about that nose position. And then the ace in the hole is I can always move Kevin Grenier in there.
When you talked about moving an offensive lineman over to the nose, though, what was it about Jordan Favreau that appealed to you? Why does he fit that position?
Well, he's a strong, physical kid, and he's one of those kids when you're watching the offense and spring ball that you're always mad at, because he's physical and you hate the way he throws your D lineman and those kind of things. And he was really recruited pretty high as a D lineman coming out of high school. Somehow he got it in his brain he wanted to be an offensive lineman, and I think he had 14 or 15 offers as a defensive lineman coming out of high school.